What? All right. As part of our new player event that we finished up, I did promise every new player who participated, if they sent me a replay, I would cast it. And we have one here from Castle Steel versus Derpy Pyro Shark, but it is a 2v2 domination replay, which is odd. Not used to casting those. I'm wondering if my game crashed, but the bottom thing just changed to Reaper Bolt Thrower. So yeah, I think it's going. It's just loading a long time. So, I mean, I promised to cast it. We have a 2v2 replay. Last series I did about like the newer players, I was really, well, critical sounds so harsh, but like, you know, I was like, oh, hey, do I like your build? Do I like your strategy? What are you doing? All that stuff. This one, I'm just going to cast it for what it is because 1, I'm not a domination expert. 2, it's a fucking 2v2, so I don't know. And 3, I don't know. That's 4 factions on the screen. It's going to be impossible to really analyze this. So we're just going to cast it like a game. All right, we have double Dark Elves versus double Dark. Why would you do this to me? Why do I have to cast a 4 Dark Elf game? Whatever. All right, for the green and blues, we have double Rekarth, both on Brachus. That's a worm. Okay, a little distracted by the worm. With a 3rd black dragon. So we have 3 black dragons, a whole bunch of harpies and manticores. Almost no ground units. We have 3 dark riders for the entire of the blue-green ground units. Oh, here we go. Here are some. Cold One Knights and the Chill of Sontar. So no infantry. Interesting. For Derpy Pyro Shark and Minus versus Mr. Bunbun and Castle Steel. Derpy Pyro Shark and Minus are the red team. We have the Siren Red Ruin. We have Shades. We have the Raven's Herald. Malekith on his Black Dragon. More Cold One Knights. A front line of Dread Spears. Malice Darkblade. Acanian Assassin. Reaper Bolt Thrower and Shades. Okay, so one side is going with like infantry and archers mostly. And the other side is going for pure mobility. Gotcha. Looks like pure mobility is going to take capture point 1 without much of a fuss. Sorry, checking my volume. Making sure it was fine. Am I on the right screen again? Yeah, I'm on the right screen. Nice. Anyway, sorry. The red team's going to take point 3 and point 2 is in contention right now as Malice and his infantry move up. With their superior capture weight, they should be able to take that quite easily. But they unfortunately did not notice the Harpies hitting the Reaper Bolt Thrower. They quick summon in their own Harpies to deal with it, and the Shades have started to turn, but they turned a little too slow to really do too much about that. And the red side is getting boinked on point 1. Yeah, they're just heavily outnumbered, and the enemy's mobility is here. When the enemy has such a mobility advantage, it's going to be incredibly difficult to win fights that like you show up a little late to, so you're just going to have to like pre-plan your fights, which is a little difficult. Red team has some gold in the bank that they need to spend. They need to summon it out. Got to get some more units on the field as double Ravens Heralds are trying to snipe, but the Black Dragons are going to pressure you, so you're not going to have much time to sit and fire. Malice dives in. Oh, sorry, Rekarth dives in, getting really good damage on the Ravens Herald, so those guys do need to pull away. But in the chaos of a 2v2 and domination, I can see how they'd be forgotten. So, yeah, it looks too little too late. They're going to get pushed off the map, most likely. Siren Red Ruin holding it down in a giant fight that was not going to go its way as the Ravens Heralds continue to fight. Crows of Cain, both of the red side players summoned a Crows of Cain, and both of the Crows of Cain are terror routing. So that's not going very well. This bottom side fight is actually just an abject disaster for the red team. Red team holds point 2. They did hold point 3 before some sneaky Dark Riders got here, and it looks like the Cold Knights are now coming back for them, but we'll see if they can get there in time and stop that capture. Damage value wise, I've heard several times the gold damage value is incredibly unreliable, but it does look relatively even. I'm wondering where all this damage is coming from for the red side, because I haven't really seen them getting too much on the battlefield right now. This just seems pretty green and blue dominant over here. As the Ravens Herald, the second one is chased up and over this weird spire looking thing. They will eventually go off the map in their own time. And the chokehold on point 1 has been established. Green and blue are pushing up, and what red need to do to try and stop this at some point is they need to summon a consolidated force and push it together all as one to stop this from turning into a general rout across all of their spawn points, because that could get really bad. If you're just trapped in your spawn, you can't get out, that'll be pretty brutal. And we're getting some Witch Elf summons in now from the green side, so now they're summoning some infantry killing infantry. which does make me think that they want to take their mobility advantage from point one, shut down the enemy spawn zones, and then have their witch elves start attritioning out the stuff that's out here, because eventually this stuff will get worn down, and then you can capture the points while the red team is just stuck in their spawn. It's roughly what I think they're going for. Or it's just chaos and no one knows. One of the Rakarths is shutting down Reaper Bolt Thrower, knocks it off of its axis, while Dark Riders harass the Bolt Fiends and Dark Rider Peter Crossbows with Black Dragon and Chill of Centaur support. So the Reds are still just kind of getting piecemeal fed into the green the green and blue blender. There we go. That's really bad. Malekith's coming back. Malice probably also needs to come back. Leave the Dreadspears here to their fate. Coldwood Knights are going to charge through Witch Elves, get some decent impact damage, and harass Black Arc Corsair Handbows, but they're going to be careful not to get stuck in a fight. 2v1 against Witch Elves while fighting Coldwood Black Arc Corsair Handbows is not going to be a good fight for them. Coldwood Knights especially are terrible at killing infantry, but most cavalry don't like a bogged down drag out fight with infantry. Just generally not their vibe. Rakarth looks like he got hit with a Soul Stealer, but his twin brother Rakarth is going to help him against Malekith, so Malekith is going to back off as some Shades try and offer some DPS. But the green and blue forces are still just rampaging across the spawn zones of the Reds, and the Reds keep summoning range units in their spawn zone, but not with nothing to back it up. It is just getting instantly murdered, which is pretty bad. Shades stuck fighting Dark Riders. They'll do okay, especially with Cold One support, then they'll be just fine. But you can see the Witch Elves were getting the upper hand on that Cold One fight, so point 3 is actually getting a little risky. And we re-summoned the Raven's Herald for some flying skirmish capability, but their DPS on infantry is pretty low, so generally good against other heavy cavalry or against single entities, neither of which is over here, so I wonder how effective they're truly going to be. Oh, holy blob fight has occurred. Web of Shadows is down onto the blue and green mess, and oh no, that's Zarkan. Oh crap. Okay, Malice generally wants to hang on for as long as possible before transforming, because Zarkan has a limited time. He is going to constantly attrition out until he is dead. So early transformation, I think he wanted to punish the blob fight because Zarkan has some really good abilities for that, but I don't know if it's worth essentially killing your lord for, like, because Malice is dead. It's now Zarkan, so like, when you pay for Malice and Zarkan, you just one-tapped Malice, got rid of him because you wanted to use some spells in the blob fight. Like, I don't know. That's pretty hard to justify. Blob fight went very well for the red team in the center. They're just murking all these guys, so blue definitely overcommitted to that a little bit. If they can back off and let Zarkan just bleed out, that's fine. Sorry, it's late at night where I am. Yeah, it's a decent trade if you end up getting away and Zarkan just bleeds out on his own, then essentially you got him out of that, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Zarkan is going to run down and kill blue Rakarth. Damage values are still very even overall if you trust those things at the top. Capture points, however, are going to start evening out. Ooh, not evening out. Point 1 got taken by 2 Dark Rider Peter Crossbows. They are going to have to keep moving, though. Do they have the micro to keep moving away from these Cold One Knights? Yeah, because they can't get caught in melee with them. So the Cold Knights have other things they want to do as well, though. Red team's still in their spawn for now. That finally came to a head over at point 3, where green and blue were able to push them off and take it. Point 2 is still well held by the red team. But point 1, somehow we got some sneakiness, but the skirmish cav is going to get caught in melee by the Cold Knights, and that's going to be that. So I do think they're going to take a lot of damage. We'll see if they even get orders to run away, or if they'll just stand and fight to the end, and then green-blue should be able to get point 1 back. Should. Have some random rallying harpies, but again, it looks like anybody who spawns gets pretty instantly harassed. Some shades are going to run their way out of here as we summon 2 Black Arc Corsair Handbows. That one makes more sense. You can shoot up at the harpies, and if they dive on you, you have decent armor and stuff. It's fine. Zarkan is still bleeding out. Malekith is vibing. At point 3, we have Witch Elves from the red team about to arrive and mess some shit up. Try and retake this point for Kane. Take it from Kane for Kane. More Kane. Profane. Point 2, still very easily held. Not much going on there. And those repeater crossbows, they had a cheeky little back capture for a bit, but loose lips, sink ships, loose micro, loses skirmish cav, and some Dark Riders are going to make sure that they run off, but the Cold Knights recaptured it. Point 1 and point 3 belong to the blue-greens. Red has a slight capture point advantage right now, but it is attritioning slowly. Black Dragon has landed in to make sure those Witch Elves do not succeed in their task to take point 3, and also 2 full health Cold Knights have arrived. help out as well. Point 2, we have some Dread Spears still hanging around, but I can't tell where they're trying to go, but they do seem to be leaving point 2, which could be problematic. Second Rakarth has started to leave, as the Crows of Cain and the Feral Manticore are trying to chase him down, keep him on the run. Actually, the Crows of Cain are trying to save him. Regular Harpies are chasing him down, keeping him on the run. And again, it's looking pretty favorable for green-blue, but if you just look at the damage value, it's actually not that favored, but I suppose it is. Both Rakarths have died, and those are very expensive, so that's probably where a lot of red's value is coming from, whereas green-blue are getting a lot of value on more obvious things, like a lot of cheaper units are dying for the red side, while a couple expensive units are dying for the green side. Zarkan finds another fight, this time with the Chill of Sontar, as some Shades keep trying to run away. Might need Malekith to help peel as well, as Rakarth rallies right in front of the Harpies, but some repeater crossbow fire and more Harpy charges will force him to keep running away, and he does not enjoy that. So the green-blue is going to be losing some serious leadership from Lord is Dead debuffs that don't go away very quickly. Rakarth is off the map. No way he rallies from this point, and Zarkan's getting some good shots on the Chill of Sontar. Bolt Fiends turn and try and fire point blank. They don't get much of a volley off before they are disrupted once again, and Malekith's just out there harassing. But the blue-greens have really good battlefield control, even without their Rakarths. I mean, they have point 3 under lock and key. They have point 1 under lock and key, and they're even pushing on point 2, so this is a big problem. Red's got to find a way to get back in this on the ground and not just sniping out enemy Rakarths. They have their own Chill of Sontar. They still have Malekith. Malekith's even going to throw down a Blade Wind, but Witch Elves dodge most of it. Harpies don't, though. Harpies run straight into that shit. They're dead as hell. Malekith's on the ground now. I hope he has some blob punishment spells in his back pocket, because this could get a little ugly if he stays for too long. All right, he's not going to. He's going to path out. That's fine. I was just worried he'd sit there in the Witch Elves and get absolutely blasted. Shades gonna get attacked by Cold One Knights. Harpies get summoned right on top of them, but I mean, still, the Cold One Knights should probably win that. It's a 3v2, and they're Cold One Knights, for God's sakes. Bolt Fiends are under attack, and yeah, the red side, it's a pretty even game. Okay, they've been doing solid, but they need to stop just summoning loose ranged units in the middle of nowhere while blue-green have such a good hold on your spawn points. Like, you're unfortunately just on melee duty. You need to just spawn melee units until you get control of your own spawn point again. Then you can bring in the ranged units. But just summoning random Shades and Bolt Fiends to die is kind of pissing me off. It's pissing me off. Zarkan's finishing off the Chill of Sontar, chasing it off. It is heal capped. He's almost heal capped himself, but he can't just let it rally for no reason, so he does have to walk it all the way off the battlefield. Point 2 still held solidly by a bunch of Dread Spears. Point 1 is being contested, but we have 3 flying units and a Chill of Sontar, so that capture weight is next to nothing. And some Black Ark Corsair Hambos are going to come up and offer a little bit of range support. Still really like green-blue's position in this game. Red scares me. I am frightened. I am alarmed for red. I think red is in trouble. Point 3 still uncontested from the red side. Point 2 still mostly uncontested for the green side. They are now starting to show up with some Witch Elves, though, so that's going to get dicey for these Dread Spears unless they get support. In come the Cold One Knights. Ooh, it's a big surround, actually. Black Dragon, Witch Elves, Cold One Knights. These Dread Spears are in for a bad time. On the far side, Malekith and the boys are taking point 1 by storm. They're doing a lot of damage. They just need to actually finish capturing it, but I think they're going to lose point 2 at the same time. In comes the Black Dragon dive. I'm going to see some terror outs pretty soon. Witch Elves are in. Dread Spears are probably on their way out. Malekith's actually coming back to point 2. Point 1, the tide is shifting. One of the Rakarths has been resummoned, and he lands on the Chill of Sontar. That is brutal. Malekith's trying to get here before it all is too late to save. We still have Dread Spears holding for now, though one of them is going to terror out away. Another one is thinking about terror routing away, but hasn't gotten there just yet. We have some red Cold One Knights. How's the red spawn zone? Zarkan's still running around being a nuisance. Dark Riders get hit with Bolt Fiends, so they're a little asleep at the wheel. And we summoned another Raven's Herald, but the Crows of Cain seem to be right next to it, so that actually might be in big trouble. More skirmish cavalry. Red, stop summoning range units. We're too late in the game for that. There's not enough time for your range units to get their value out. You need boys, you need bodies, you need lads, you need gits, you need people to get on the fucking point. Bruh. Enough of this ranged nonsense. Zarkan's going to dive into some Cold One Knights. Supporting his Cold One Knights in the fight is pretty good. Malekith's probably got to get involved too. For now, point 2 is holding, but those Witch Elves are still churning up a lot of Dread Spears. It's getting a little risky. Point 3, we have random Skirmish Cavs, so they're not going to take it back. Red, I think you might be doomed unless you summon a bunch of capture point units very quickly. And I still see Flyers. I still see Skirmish Cav. So I lack the confidence in your ability to take these points. We have entered the point where Red has to capture at least 1 point to win this game, because Green is about to pass them, and it's 2-1. Malekith gets moving again. I wonder where he's going. He's not diving down to help with these Witch Elves, who are slowly dying. I still think left alone they could kill all 3 of these Dread Spears, but maybe not the Canaan Assassin, so maybe there's that. Zarkan's getting dangerously low. He's down to 700 HP, and he's heal caps. There's nothing else he can do about that, and Malekith is now coming back to the point, deciding maybe he does want to dive these Witch Elves, and he shall. So he dives onto them. The tickets have flipped. Green-blue are now in the lead for like the first time this game, and we have summoned more Dark Rider Repeater crossbows. I'm getting pissed. Stop. You don't have time. You don't have time for Skirmish Cav at this point, bro. You gotta get bodies on the point. Mr. Bun Bun and Castle Steel have more money than their opponent at this point. They have more capture rate than their opponent at this point. They could just summon a bunch of Dark Riders and sprint to the points and be fine. I think this is GG. I don't think there's a way back in for Red mathematically. Skirmish Cav are moving up. They're making a play for point 3, but there are Cold One Knights here, so they're not going to win on the capture weight. In the center, Green actually took the center as well by throwing Dark Riders at the problem and the Chill of Sauntar. So it's actually a triple cap from the green side and the doom of the Red Elves. GG. A chaotic all Dark Elf 2v2. Yeah, I'm not going to go through all the units value, but the main problem for the red team was just too much ranged too late in the game. Not enough capture point, not enough damage output, those kinds of things. For Castle Steel and Mr. Bun Bun, things got a little suspicious with the Rakarths getting caught out. But overall, it was fine. It was fine. The game seemed close on capture points. I don't think it was a blowout, but I don't think it was actually that close of a game. So it was kind of close on capture points, but that was because the green-blue side sacrificed early capturing to secure an avenue into their opponent's spawn. And then from there, the game was honestly kind of decided, where it was like, okay, we're going to whittle you out. We're going to attrition what you don't have in your spawn, and anything that spawns is just going to get instantly murked. And the game was pretty tough for the Reds from there. Now, they did make some late-game spawning mistakes in the Skirmish Cav, sure. And I think the blue-greens took too much time to bring Rakarths back or Chillas of Sauntar back, where they probably should have kept spamming out faster, lighter things to either push their opponents off the points faster or keep refreshing your harassers that are in the enemy spawn zone. So, you know, both sides had some mistakes, but I think the green-blue team had a solid, more solid strategy in one. So, GG's. Roar.
Subscribe, yes, yes.